Hi, my name's Tim Forrester. I'm an independent pharmacist and have been practicing for over 20 years. Today I was going to talk to you about ways to help afford your medications better or save money on your prescription medications. In this day and age, drug prices have outpaced inflation more than fivefold, and we continue to get price updates in greater volume, increased frequency, and higher amounts from the drug companies. So it's important to know all the resources that are out there for you and some tricks of the trade, so to speak, to help navigate and maintain your health as good as possible. The few things that I was going to do today, the first one was to go over and explain what the PACE program is. The next would be to give some advice or inform you about Medicare Part D. The third thing is all the drug coupons that exist out there from drug manufacturers and samples from your doctor. And then the last thing would just be just some basic wrap up and get to know your pharmacist kind of thing. So the first thing we'll talk about is the PACE program. PACE is an acronym for Pharmaceutical Assistance Contract for the Elderly. And now in this day and age, I wouldn't classify 65 as elderly, but you have to be 65 to qualify. So there's just a few basic qualifications for PACE. You have to be a resident of the state of Pennsylvania, and you have to have been a resident for at least 90 days. You have to be at least 65, and then the third qualification is strictly income. The income limits vary depending on whether you are married or not, widowed or otherwise single or married, and then there's two levels. So the highest income bracket for I believe a couple is $31,200. Now it's just income, so any assets do not count. It's only the interest those assets accrue. You can have $1 million in the bank. If they're not accruing any interest, it does not matter. It is not a welfare program. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's out there. It's funded by the lottery, the state lottery, so it doesn't come from tax dollars, and it's a great thing if you qualify to take advantage of. There's no limitations to the coverage. They do a very good job at covering things and limiting things that are possibly unsafe for patients that are over 65, but still allowing access. So it's a very simple application. You can talk to your local pharmacist, call the State Department of Aging, or go to any politician's office, or even go online and just Google PACE and you'll find it. So that's a very excellent way to help afford your medications. Right now, if you qualify for straight PACE, it's a $6 generic, $9 brand copay. If it's PACE Net, where there's about a $30 deductible, $40 deductible a month, generics are $8, brands are $15. So it's a great program if you qualify. The next thing to consider or to evaluate is Medicare. Medicare enacted a drug coverage phase several years ago, Medicare Part D, and anyone that has Medicare, whether it's from disability or age 65 or over, you should consider a Part D plan if you don't have one. Anyone that doesn't have a Part D plan should have better coverage, or they're doing themselves a disservice. Anyone that qualifies should take a serious look at it, or touch base with somebody that can help them take a serious look at it, because it's very confusing. The way they set this up, it's almost intentionally confusing. And the thing you have to keep in mind, the biggest factor is it's different for every person. Part D plans, strictly the swaying factor, the determining factor are the drugs. So you really can't ask your spouse or your neighbor, your mailman, what plan they like, or if they like the plan they're with, or if they would recommend you use their particular insurance or whatnot, because the drug regimen, if you take these 5 medications, that determines the economics, which really dictate which plan is best suited for an individual. And I've gone over it with many people, and it changes all the time. Now, the important thing is, when you look at a Part D plan, if you have one or are going to get one, to evaluate the different plans out there. And if you use the internet, there's on Medicare.gov, there's a prescription drug plan finder where you can actually enter in the medications, and it will show you the economics. It will show you the total costs for the year. You know, so it's really, that's the most important thing. You know, not that it has a 4-star rating versus a 3.5-star rating. You know, it's really the drug regimen. So, and if you don't use the internet, you know, you can call 1-800-MEDICARE. You can stop in and talk to your local pharmacist, family members, doctors. You know, and the other thing is, this past year they changed the enrollment period. So it used to be you had from right around Thanksgiving time until the end of the year was the period where you could change plans or enroll. This past year they moved it up, so it ends right around the middle of December. So around Thanksgiving time, you want to be looking and you know, making sure that your plan that you currently have is right for you, or you know, if you don't have a plan, that's when you have the opportunity to get a plan. But it's very important to, you know, look at the facts, you know, talk to somebody who's knowledgeable in the area, you know, and just be very proactive and diligent, and you can really do yourself a, you know, a benefit to, you know, keeping your economics down and your health up. So I urge you, and feel free to, you know, contact us, myself, like I said, or anybody, family, neighbors, friends that you know, can help you and explain it to you, or look in and see what's best for you. It is a very viable program that's out there, and can help you save, you know, a lot of money. So that's Medicare. Another avenue you can use to help afford your medications, or you know, make sure you take your medications every day. It used to be the doctors had drug samples, so you know, depending on, you know, you could go to this particular doctor and you'd leave with a bag full of these all kinds of good samples. Anymore, the sampling isn't as prolific as it used to be. There's more regulations on all sides, so it still exists, but not nearly as much as before. But that said, anytime you have a visit at the doctor's office, if they have samples of any medications you're on, take them, ask them for them, because if you can't beat free, and as long as they're not expired, they're not counterfeit, they're not, you know, you don't have to worry about where they're coming from, what they've been exposed to. They should be, you know, pretty much, you know, good, no problem, as long as you know, you can identify the tablet, because a lot of times the labeling or the packaging isn't, you know, up to par. But as long as you know what it is and what you're taking, and it is the right medication, you can save a lot of money. What the drug companies have done in lieu of some of the sampling are coupons. Insurance companies and all the what's called PBMs, which are the Medcos and Express Scripts, which everyone kind of, you know, may be familiar with in recent news, they have created this rebate, kickback, whatever you want to call it, atmosphere where the end result has been coupons. With the use of the internet and or the drug companies, the sales reps in general and directly, there are a lot of coupons out there for medications. Anything from, you know, $10 off, $20 off, 30-day free supplies, a lot of ones that will reduce money, you know, reduce to $25, reduce to $10. Some will actually charge a little debit card that you can then run like a credit card. So there's a lot out there. There are a couple websites that you can use to, you know, to look for them. We use a couple that are very helpful, or just Google the drug name or call the drug company themselves and say, hey, you know, Merck, you make this particular drug, do you have a coupon for it? Do you offer a coupon for it? So some are, you know, there's a lot out there. There's several different processors. There's all kinds of different rules and regulations and limits, but it's something to look into. It's only brand name medications, so the generic companies don't have that much, you know, spread in their products to offer things like that. But the brand drug companies, and it's amusing because as drugs near their patent expirations, as they near generic competition, the promotions escalate. So a lot of drugs that are going to be generic soon have coupons, or that are facing new competition. So you know, drugs like Lipitor and Plavix that have gone generic recently have, you know, fantastic coupons out there. So if you want the brand still, you know, or you really don't care, it's something to consider, you know, with the economics. So drug coupons are, you know, a great option, something to look into. Ask your pharmacist about, ask your doctor about, or just look into it yourself, and you can save a lot of money, or, you know, a lot of cases, you know, your medications are free to you directly. So it's definitely a good option. So lastly, in summary, it's just, like I said, very important to have a good relationship with your pharmacist, your doctor, nurse practitioner. There's so much out there, it can be confusing for anyone, and when it comes to the medications and their costs, the worst thing you can do is become non-compliant, don't take them regularly, or you know, sacrifice, you know, food or something else in lieu of. There's ways to accomplish it. Every manufacturer out there has assistance programs, so if you do have hardship for some reason, whether it be from low income or, you know, a lot of expenses, there's programs out there from the drug companies themselves. Any pharmacy, any pharmacist should have that information on how to contact those companies. There are websites, you know, strictly designated for that. Social workers if you're in the hospital, you know, even just getting on the internet yourself. But there's a lot that exists out there, and when it comes to the drugs themselves, there's very similar things. So you may be on a drug for stomach acid, and there's something that's extremely similar to it that's $100 cheaper per month, and you just weren't aware of it. So it's important to check with your doctor, check with your pharmacist. There's a lot of drugs that are going generic soon, so it may be important to, you know, maybe you don't want to switch because you're satisfied with what you're on, but if you buy a 3-month supply and the generic's coming out tomorrow, you kind of do some economic damage to yourself. So it's important to know when your drugs are going generic. So maybe next time you go to the pharmacy or the doctor, when you go over the list of medications, ask them, when does the patent expire? When does the generic coming? Do you anticipate a generic this year? Would be a great question. You just have to, you know, be a little more forward, provocative in your thinking, and you know, don't roll over and take it. Ask questions, and you know, get that relationship going. And I said, it's a very confusing arena. There's a lot out there, but you know, you can take advantage of it and help yourself out. And I know personally that's why I do what I do. There's nothing I enjoy more than, you know, helping somebody and saving them money, or, you know, making them able to afford their medications and still pay their rent. So again, my name is Tim Forrester. I am a pharmacist and owner of Prescription Center Plus, and I hope this information was informative for you, and feel free always, if you have any questions, need any assistance, to call or stop in any one of my stores, or check with your own pharmacist. If you want to talk to me directly, my email is tim@prescriptioncenterplus.com. It's all spelled out, so it's kind of cumbersome, but I apologize for that. I encourage you to talk to your pharmacist, whether that be, you know, myself or anyone else out there. I know a lot of them. There are many good pharmacists out there, and it's just important that you have that relationship. And I wish you all the best in health, and take care.